Before the invention and commercialization of the airplane, the only way to cross the Atlantic Ocean was by ship. It was just a matter of moving from point A to point B, so things like comfort, fine dining, and karaoke were not a consideration. People would just book passage on a cargo or mail ship that happened to take on passengers. Sometimes the accommodation on these ships was barely better than what the crew endured. Think less cruise ships and more people shippers. But all things change, and so did people shipping. It went from a thing that must be endured to a desirable and pleasant way to travel to your destination, to the ship is my destination. And how did this miracle occur, you may ask? The way all great things happen. Dumb luck. But also, through a combination of laziness, mischievous humor, and a dash of brilliance. Wilcox and Anderson's ship brokerage firm was founded in 1815 by, wait for it, Brodie McGee Wilcox and former seaman Arthur Anderson. They owned and operated a speculative services company which dealt with English ships trading with Spain and Portugal. It was a good company, made money, and was by all measurements successful. But Arthur Anderson was a dreamer. He wanted more. He wanted to do pleasure cruising. He talked about it with his best friend and partner Wilcox, but he was less of a dreamer. He was, as the kids say, grounded in reality. You see, this was not a new idea, pleasure cruising. It was an idea talked about, but everyone agreed it was not a good investment, as there was no way on Earth or in the several seas it could ever be financially sustainable. And there already was a cruising company that tried and went broke. Anderson would bring it up to Wilcox over the years and try to get him to go half on this venture, but Wilcox was not having it. And they didn't even own a ship. In 1837, thanks to a man named Captain Richard Bourne, they landed a lucrative contract and joined forces Wilcox and Anderson for the peninsular mails to be delivered by steamers and managed by Wilcox and Anderson. That was the day the foundation was laid for P&O. Then one day in 1889, as legend has it, opportunity came knocking. Arthur Anderson started a newspaper called the Shetland Times for his beloved homeland. And one day, there was a space that needed an ad to be placed in it. And so, Anderson, being a visionary and a bit of a rascal, and too lazy to sell that ad space, made the ad himself. Rather than creating a real ad for his real company that was doing well, he created a fake ad for a pleasure cruise around the Scottish Islands through the Orient Line and the north of Scotland Orkney and Shetland Shipping Company. It was for a cruise for a company offering that did not yet exist. Anderson took a chance, and it worked. But because Wilcox was involved, they also came up with a reasonable and sensible plan. They eventually offered what they called excursions on Royal Mail ships from England to ports on the Iberian Peninsula and the Mediterranean. And it worked well for them. After years of reliable mail runs, P&O entered dedicated pleasure cruising for the first time in 1904 in competition with the other great ships of the day. And the rest, as they say, is history. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe for part 2.